Hello there, and welcome back to the Endless Kingdom. I'm your anonymous host, and today in a not-so-critical review, we're going to be looking into the latest entry of Netflix's original cartoon, The Dragon Prince. In my last few reviews, we touched upon the first saga of The Dragon Prince, with its first 3 seasons. Well, now it's time to look into the second saga, titled The Mystery of Erebos. Who is Erebos, you might ask? Why, he's the series' main antagonist. Introduced in Season 2 as a secondary antagonist, is who aids the at the time main antagonist, Lord Viren. The first saga of the franchise dealt with the main characters Callum and Ezran of the human kingdom of Catalus and Rayla of the Moonshadow Elves, as they rescued and went on a quest to return the Dragon Prince Zim and back to his mother, the Dragon Queen, to prevent war between humans and the magical lands of Zadia run by the elves and dragons. And through many hardships, they succeed. It was a difficult journey, but they managed. The second saga, which Season 4 begins, and kicks off 2 years later. And quite a bit has changed in the last 2 years. Most of it implied, but is that a bad thing? Such a fact gets the audience to think a bit, which can help open their enjoyment of the story. Or not, depends on who's watching. Regardless, though, in the second saga, The Dragon Prince is still very much a story about its characters and the journeys they go through. The current journey, them trying to stop friend-turned-antagonist Claudia from freeing Erebos from his unknown prison. Literally, no one actually knows where it is. There are clues scattered about Zadia, but that's it. Outside of that, no one is aware of anything regarding the prison. But that's not the mystery of Erebos. The mystery is the man, or should I say, elf himself. When he was introduced, we were told almost nothing about him outside of the fact that he has a history with the prior Dragon King, and a few hints that that history expands to the elven royalty. That's about it. Now we get further description, and that, while it doesn't answer all the questions, it answers enough to give us a better idea of who this individual is. Not to mention, he is quite the sadistic fellow, and the mood strikes him. Well, vicious, that topic does lead to a good segue for the characters. Starting with Callum, who has the most difficulty out of all the characters this season. Because during the 2-year time skip, he undergoes a bit of a shall we say, rough time. You see, for those who have watched the 3rd season, you'd know that Callum and Rayla became a romantic couple halfway through the 3rd season. It was very sweet, but during the time skip, Rayla outright left and disappeared. She was convinced she had to locate Lord Viren before he could cause more damage, in spite of the fact everyone thought Lord Viren died during the climactic battle at the end into the 3rd season. But no one could persuade her otherwise. That hit Callum hard. And while Rayla does come back during the season, he carries the pain he felt over the last 2 years with him. Makes him seem rather cynical when Rayla's around, but you can tell for the softer moments with his brother Ezran that Callum does still care for her and is still, to a point, the charismatic young man we got to know on the first 3 seasons. In some ways, even more so. The lack of confidence that practically defined Callum when the first saga is gone, due to the fact that he spent the grand majority of the time skipped learning magic. He went from a complete beginner to seasoned practitioner. Lots of the tough spots our heroes find themselves in are solved in part thanks to Callum's masterful use of magic. Quite neat for those who've watched Callum's struggles. Now, as for Rayla herself, she's a bit more soft-spoken in this season compared to the first saga. Still the fierce and determined elf we grew to know, but she has in part been humbled during her 2-year journey. That and the fact that the events of the first saga were never fully resolved for her. You can tell at times that still weighs heavily on her. Not brought up much, since she focuses more on the task at hand and trying to mend the bond she broke with Callum, but it's there. Though she does get more of a chance to meet up with some new people, like Soren, son of Lord Viren, head of the Catalan Crown Guard. Effectively a lovable oaf, with a bit of musclehead tendencies, but very thoughtful and loyal. The events of the first saga have definitely made him lose some of his naivete. Not all of it, but enough that he is clearly more thoughtful of his surroundings than he was in the first saga, where he often needed extended explanations to get the point across. Now, those traits have softened, and we can see him for the loyal, charismatic friend he truly is, who at times is more courageous than anyone else around, a bit bordering on recklessness, but what can you do? Speaking of the crown, there's Ezran, youngest of the cast, if you don't count Zim, him who we don't get to see much of his character since he's not old enough to talk yet. And thus his character's more were shown through Ezran, who's developed a strong bond and thus understanding with Zim. Him over the time skip. Quite fascinating to watch how that bond is developed. And it definitely shows how Ezran has taken to his role as King of Katalis. For Ezran is a king who wants to rule strictly through compassion and understanding. Not an easy task considering the world of Dragon Prince has only just recently closed the book on centuries-long war. And while Ezran is optimistic due to helping to end said chapter, that and his growing friendship with the Dragon Queen Zubeia, the events of the season lead him to realize it's not as easy as he thought that it would be. Doesn't stop him, though. In fact, he joins the journey to stop Erebos' return as a form of goodwill mission, one he's semi-successful in. In fact, some of his attempts would most likely have been successful had it not been for Claudia's interference. Many twists and turns there. Speaking of twists and turns and Claudia, well, effectively, she's become a mirror of her father in that. In the first saga, Viren was obsessive, power-hungry, and would do anything for his ideals of what's best for humanity. Claudia, well, he's become all that and more. She's adopted an extreme hatred of elves. Well, before, she was just indifferent, a bit in a biased sort of way. Though at the same time, she's a bit contradictory in her approaches. What with the fact that she acquired an elven boyfriend and named Terry. Goofy character, that one, often cracking jokes and trying to make any situation he's in, no matter how dark or light-hearted, which is not easy for him considering the company he keeps, which includes Lord Viren himself, who is undergoing a bit of a reshape in his identity. You see, as I mentioned earlier, people thought he died at the end of Season 3, and well, he did. Claudia, under the guidance of Erebos, resurrected him. And because of that resurrection, Viren has started to question everything he knows. Everything he's believed in for all these years. Very interesting to see the man who kickstarted the whole plot of the franchise look at himself like this. Frankly, that's what the fourth season, the Dragon Prince is about. Looking at characters in a new light. Well, admittedly, the season is best watched after rewatching in the first saga. The fourth season of The Dragon Prince and the first book in the Mysteries of Erebos saga is an interesting tale of characters living through new ideals and changing tides. It's in the world around them. Seen most prominently in the season's side plot where Callum and Ezran's Aunt Amaya becomes engaged to the Sunfire Queen Janai, and all the shenanigans that entails. Best watch for yourself to see what I mean by that. But in any case, if you're looking for the action, adventure, character moments, and magic of the first saga, you'll definitely find that in Season 4. All that is there, just in a different light. And really, That's not a bad thing. It's a new experience in the same flavor the Dragon Prince is known for, and really, what more could you ask for in an adventure fantasy? But, as I always say, I'm not here to tell you if the show is good or bad. I'm here to state my opinion and through it let you decide if the Dragon Prince franchise is something you'd like to watch. So if you think the Dragon Prince, both the first saga and the Mysteries of Erebos strikes your fancy, you can find it for easy streaming on Netflix. And if you enjoyed this not-so-critical review, you can like the video, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't, and click the notification bell to stay up to date on all future reviews on this channel, as well as share this video around and with anyone you think might enjoy it. And until the next not-so-critical review, I've been your anonymous host of the Endless Kingdom, and I wish you all a good day.